All of the shows featured on the Kevin Kelly Podcast League, including the 5-Minute Kevin Kelly Podcast, are a part of the Place to Be Nation family and are not affiliated with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Welcome, everyone, to the Kevin Kelly Podcast League. My name's JT Rozzero. I'm here with my buddy, John D'Amato, and you may know us, you may not. I am a co-host of actually one of the shows here on the feed that you'll be hearing very soon. It is the Wrestling Warzone Monday Night Wars podcast retrospective, along with my partner, Chad Campbell. I also co-host the Place to Be podcast with my buddy, Scott Griscola. We've been doing that since 2011. Right now, we're running through WWF shows from 1985 on. We're into 88. You can get some information on that through our social media channels, but wanted to welcome you in here to this brand new network. Very excited to be working with Kevin. We've known each other for a while. I was excited to have him come here to Place to Be Nation to ask us to help produce his brand new venture, the Kevin Kelly Podcast League. And as part of that, we're going to be doing stuff like this. Quick hit PodBlast. We're going to be previewing the 2019 Royal Rumble weekend. And I mentioned my buddy here, John, who's with me. You may have heard him on the Place to Be podcast. He also co-hosts an NFL preview show every week at Place to Be Nation and has been a guest on many of our other shows and a star, really, on social media, John, right?
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. I'm more of a mid-card guy, but once in a while I get to hang out with the main eventers, like in this case, and to be associated with Kevin Kelly is an honor. And I do keep up with the current product. I know now the cool thing is people say, "Oh, I don't watch Raw and SmackDown, and it's too much to watch." But I do keep up with the current product. So,
well, that's why you're here.
If that means anything, yeah.
You're our specialist. You're like Kane. Like you work in the mid card, but when we need you to come up to the big boys, you can come up and hold your own. You're a trustable gatekeeper, so we're glad to have you here. So we thought we'd start with TakeOver Phoenix, which is tonight. We'll spend a little bit of time there, and then we'll move on to the Rumble. So we're really just going to kind of move through these matches quick. We're going to give our predictions and maybe talk a little bit of Fallout, and then we're going to give some what we call Nostra-Dumbass picks, which is, everyone out there has got a prediction, got a hot take. Most of us are usually 85% wrong, so we call it Nostra-Dumbass instead of Nostra-Dumbass, and we're going to go ahead and lay some of those on you, too, at the end. Some wild things that we think maybe are not likely to happen, but you never know. And this way, if they happen, we can say, hey, we called it here first. All right, so let's talk TakeOver, John. Riddle Ono. This feud's been going on for a bit. In my mind, I don't see Ono really ever moving on beyond what his role currently is. I mentioned gatekeeper in regard to you as kind of a joke, but for him, he feels like an NXT gatekeeper. Maybe he gets a little Samoa Joe run at some point, maybe a poor man Samoa Joe run, just out of respect on the main roster. But he seems like a guy they're happy to keep here in NXT, to use him to kind of get guys through to the main event level. And to me, this is just a way to get Riddle some reps against a world-class athlete and kind of get him known to this audience and basically keep him busy until he's ready to ascend, which I think is coming soon.
Yes, definitely. That's probably one of the few guarantees of the week. But he's definitely making Riddle look strong, so it's a good thing they're doing. And they did give him a big win over Keith Lee on the TV. But I don't see any way. Riddle's going to be shooting straight to the top. So, but it's a nice, as you said, job into the stars is the old-fashioned term. But it's a nice gatekeeper. Ono's doing a good job there.
Yeah, no, he is good in that role, and I want to talk about Riddle's trajectory in a minute too. After we get through the rest of the card, so we'll put that on hold. NXT North America Championship, we got Ricochet taking on Johnny Gargano. This one should be a lot of fun. Obviously, Gargano had a great year in 2018. Had the whole feud with Ciampa, and now is really just kind of, I guess, walking a very thin line of insanity and reality, where he believes he should be. Ricochet has also been impressive since his debut. We saw him live a couple times on takeovers this year, John, at events that we attended, and obviously well beloved by fans, NXT and beyond. He is currently the champion. Do you think Gargano takes the belt here?
Yes, I do. I'll save it till after we get to the Ciampa predictions. But yes, I think Gargano takes it. I think Ricochet can afford one setback here. Gargano will probably do it by nefarious ways, maybe even with a little assistance from his ex-tag team partner.
Yeah, that's the way I'm leaning too. I do think he wins. I think they put a lot of focus on him. And again, I think the story is leading us that way. And I think Ricochet is not going to be long for NXT. Because if you kind of look at where things are and kind of the thickness of the mix here, he's a guy that I could see coming up maybe in that post-Mania rush. Do you agree?
Yes, definitely. He'd fit in well on SmackDown. There's juicy opponents ready for him on SmackDown.
Yep. No, I agree. I guess one other thing that could come up this year is with SmackDown not moving to Fox until the end of the year, do we not see as many shakeups or shifts around Mania time because they may try and save some of that for the Fox shift. So I guess we got to consider that too. Maybe he hangs around until the fall and then comes up when they try and freshen up the program for Fox, which is possible.
Yeah, I don't like how they're just tied to doing the brand shifts like after WrestleMania. They should be more outside the box and mix it up. Like even a couple guys that we'll get into on the Rumble card, that they could do it. Why not do a couple after SummerSlam or after the Rumble here? So
right.
I don't see why tied to it after Mania so much, but that's the way it is. It doesn't look like they're going to change.
Well, they may be breaking it a bit because they did bring up this crop over the past couple of weeks. I mean, it's almost like a middle tier crop. It's not really the main event level guys, but with EC3 and Lacey Evans and
the NXT. But I'm talking,
you mean the shake up in
like
general?
The brand shifts. Yeah. We'll table that for the main card. Sure.
All right, let's get to our tag team title match. Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, representing Undisputed Era, the tag team champions in NXT, taking on the War Raiders, Hanson and Ray Rowe. And it's interesting to me because I feel like Hanson was a big talking point in the original Kevin Kelly show 5 years ago when we started this, and here he is now in NXT challenging for the tag titles. I feel like these takeovers usually feature one or two title changes, but I don't think this is one. I think the War Raiders are a team that don't necessarily need titles to hang around and eventually then maybe move up. And I feel like they're not done with the Undisputed Era kind of being like a dominant force. And then especially where you and I seem to think the other belts are going, I could see them retaining. Now, I guess the flip side of that would be if things go the way we think they may, do they want the tag belts on a face team so it's not heel heavy? But I have a feeling we get kind of a cheap O'Reilly and Strong, either cheat to win or sneak out and keep the titles by DQ or something like that. I don't think we're ready for a title change there.
Yeah, I'm going Undisputed too, especially being that Cole's not on the card. He may make an appearance here to assist interference.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, all right, we'll keep it there. Now, here's one title I do think is going to change, and that's Shayna Baszler taking on Bianca Belair. The way they've been pushing Bianca and all the word you hear about how they feel about her backstage and the way they view her as a star, I don't think... I know with the women's division, they seem to usually... Like, everyone thinks the title may change that first time, and they usually seem to almost have it happen the second time. Like, she'll kind of have the feisty showing here. But I don't see them wanting her to necessarily take the loss. And I do think Baszler is ready to move up. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Ronda Rousey post-Mania, but at some point, it seems like they want to do something with the NXT horsewomen, or at the very least her, and I think she's more than ready to come up to the main roster. It wouldn't shock me at all if Belair goes over here.
I'm going to stick with Shayna in this one through... I got a lot of interference on this card, but through the help of her fellow horsewomen, and they'll table... Bianca maybe getting a rematch for the Mania takeover. Well, she'll take it from there.
Okay, so you think they kind of follow that formula of feisty showing in the first one, kind of get hosed, and then come back and take the title.
Yeah, but looking back at this, though, I doubt there'll be interference in every match the way I'm calling it. So,
well, also the way we're calling
these predictions likely.
Yeah, if you go Baszler too, I'm assuming Riddle Ono probably opens, or maybe the tag title will open, but. We're taking 4 out of 5 heels here if we go Baszler, because I'm sure. Well, let's talk about the main event right now. Tommaso Ciampa defending the title against Aleister Black. I think Ciampa's retaining here because I think it sounds like you're leaning like I am, where him and Gargano are going to both take their titles and kind of relink back up as champions to dominate.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. And then Black's he's got time to move up.
And I think too with Riddle ascending. You got to think they're going to pull the trigger on Riddle at Mania, right? I mean, I would think that's going to be his kind of crowning point. So I'm thinking we get Riddle Ciampa at Mania. Do you agree with that? Too soon, you think?
I think that we may have one more dance, one more Ciampa Gargano dance. They're gonna link up and then have another breakup. So I think it's gonna be one more final death match
with the title on the line.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, all right, interesting. I like it. All right, we'll see. So anyway, to me then, if we're going Ciampa, Undisputed, and Gargano, I just feel like I'd have to look historically. I'm not sure how these usually play out, but 4 out of 5 heel wins seems unlikely. So now you're gonna be questioning like, does Ricochet win? It just seems like unlikely for the way to go. And like you mentioned too, are we really gonna get 4, points of interference here? Unless you do something like the War Raiders win by count out or DQ or something like that to nominally give the face team a win. But it just seems odd they'd go 4 out of 5 heels, right?
Yeah, definitely. But there has been. I can't think of it. There was a card where when definitely heel Cedric when I think when Ciampa ends the show as your champion. But.
Right. Well, I wonder if last year, the one we were at in Philly, did that go that way? Because I know Almas defeated Gargano in the main event there, so I guess it's possible that could have been one that... I'm trying to think back now. I feel like we saw so much. This is 2018.
Yeah, I know. And they're all so great. They're all a blur. So
yeah,
that's really what... The bottom line is you come at a takeover no matter what, where the heels... They could afford it because everybody just talks about how great the show was and how great the performances were.
Right. Yeah, and the expectations are always high. I think that's one of the most impressive things with these takeover cards is just how the expectations have risen because of the quality, and they always seem to rise to meet it. Like, to me, that's the most impressive thing. Like, they know the expectations are super high, and yet here they are still delivering each time. To me, that's really impressive.
And plus, the old school heel face dynamic doesn't really play because a lot of the heels get cheered and
yep.
et cetera. So that's why they could go whatever you want to call it, outside the box, whatever, with more heels winning.
No, I agree. Okay, let's shift our gears then to Sunday, to the Royal Rumble 2019. And John, you and I will be watching this together at my house tomorrow night. So looking forward to hanging out with you, and our buddy Matty Suze will be here as well. So that's exciting. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the card? We have two pre-show matches. So we'll start there. We have Rusev, our United States champion, taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. What do you think here? Does Rusev's reign come to an end, or do you think Nakamura takes another L?
I'm looking for Rusev to retain, and I think Nak will be a prime candidate for after Mania for a Raw or a switch.
Yeah.
They definitely need some heels over there.
I feel like it's too good to be true that they're giving Rusev this push. I'm going to go Nakamura. Just because...
not as usual, it's 1 year too late.
Right. No, I know. You think
it's a little tepid. It's a little tepid, even though he got the belt and everything. But he was hot. The Federation is usually late with their with the hot guys. Last year would have been perfect for this.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about in New Orleans how over he was we were walking Bourbon Street, but even back in Philly at the Rumble, he was super over at that point too. When he came out, I believe he was number 1, I think, right in the Rumble, and he came out and got a huge pop. So that was a great moment. Now, I usually do try and err toward saying faces on the pre-show. That usually seems the way those matches go. But I think in my next one, I'm going heel as well, and that's the Fatal 4-Way for the Cruiserweight title. As Buddy Murphy is taking on Akira Tozawa, Hideo Itami, and Kalisto. I don't think they've ever been in on Itami. Tozawa, I think, for whatever reason, has never really gotten the run he probably deserves, and Kalisto, to me, is an afterthought here. And I don't think they're done with the Murphy experiment yet, and he's been so good as the anchor of 205 Live, which is a great show every week. I don't think they're ready to take the strap off of him.
Yeah, outside the Riddle match in NXT, this has got to be about the second guarantee of the weekend. I don't see any way they take it off Buddy. He's been terrific, and it follows up. Cedric had a good reign, and they don't want to go where it's like a championship where just anybody could come in, especially those three.
Right.
Leave a lot to be desired. That would be a killer. 205 Live struggling enough. So they got to keep strong champions like they've been doing. 205
Live, the hottest show that nobody talks about. It's so good.
Fun. They're like, people don't like great matches. I don't understand, but that's one of their problems, which is for another podcast.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's get off of the pre-show. Let's get into the main card. What do you think here? The Bar defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles against Miz and Shane McMahon.
I guess this is where they pull the trigger and Miz and Shane win the belts, and then the breakup or whatever come lead into their fabulous match at WrestleMania. I do say it half jokingly, but wow, the Shane character is really right now. But for some reason he always seems to come through at Mania with a decent match. Like I remember we weren't too thrilled with the match with AJ at Orlando, and it turned out to be one of the top matches on the card. So I know the hardcores really hate that Shane still is up there and gets a focus, but
I think the good thing with him and Miz, that year was frustrating because AJ had just come in And it felt like something. Well, I guess no. Actually, he had been there a year. Right? He came in 16. But I feel like most thought that AJ kind of deserved. I don't want to say deserved, but would be featured in a match that could maybe be like a real show stealer, right?
A full timer, yeah. What a
Correct.
full timer, yeah.
Against a guy that could really go. So I think that was the frustration there with Miz. He's been hot as a character, but when you look at Shane and Miz, like I think they almost complement each other because Miz isn't going to go. He's not going to go out there and have a 4.5 star match anyway. You know, he'll put on a good match, but I think putting Shane with him almost kind of keeps them occupied, and I think that's not a bad opponent if you have to have a Shane match on the card. I'm curious which one of them turns. I think it's probably going to be Miz because you could say, oh, he's been setting Shane up. I'd go to the opposite here, though. I think I'd have Shane be the one that turns because Miz has actually become quite likable with the Miz and Mrs. show and all his enthusiasm and how great he was in the Cena feud and coming out of that I'd actually just I think I'd do it the opposite of what everyone's expecting, and I think they're going to do it here to set up the Mania match. I think Shane turns on him here and costs them because I don't see them beating the Bar, and I don't think they want to. I think they actually the respect level they have for the Bar. I would be surprised if they use them as pawns in this match. I think we're more likely to either see Shane turn on Miz or something like Miz saves Shane and takes the kill shot if you want to not break them up yet. So Shane's about to get leveled by like the Sheamus kick or whatever. Miz jumps in and takes the shot. He eats the loss, but he saves Shane to keep them as friends, but not give him the belts.
Yeah, because there's still plenty of time. They still have 2 special events before Mania to do the final breakup, and there's still time for the setup. So.
Agreed. All right, let's look at our Raw Women's Championship match. Ronda Rousey, who's been obviously in the news the last couple of weeks quite a bit, taking on Sasha Banks. Sasha really kind of pushing the, I earned this, you have an angle, which most females seem to have done with Ronda since she's come in. I think this will be a really, really good match. Obviously, Rousey's delivered nothing but great matches since she's arrived. Sasha can go, but I don't think Sasha, to me, this is number 3 lock along with Riddle and Murphy.
Yeah.
I'd be, absolutely floored if Ronda lost to Sasha Banks here.
Yeah, we're not going to waste time speculating. That's like you said, that's number 3 guaranteed. But also, let's just take time to reminisce. It was just 1 year ago where Ronda made the surprise debut, and look at all that's happened in 1 year's time. They really made the best out of it, getting her all their opponents and a wide variety of matches, and just getting a main event ready from day one. That's really like the WWE takes a lot of crap for their lousy booking and stuff, but this is one where they knocked out the park. Just about everything with her has been laid out perfectly.
No, I agree, and I think it's going to culminate with the first ever women's match main eventing WrestleMania in MetLife this year. I think we're going to get 3-way, which we'll talk about in a minute, because we have Asuka taking on Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's title. John, I think this can go one of 2 ways, right? I think you either get Becky wins here, and then that main event I'm talking about, who I think is going to include a third female, will have both titles in the mix. Or I think we get something screwy here where Becky does not win this title, and then she shows back up later in the evening. That's the way I'm leaning toward. I don't think Asuka beats her clean, though. So I think we either get Becky snapping or some kind of shenanigans. I don't see Becky losing clean to Asuka here in this match.
I'm going Becky all the way.
Okay, so you think she wins the title?
I think she kind of needs a big win, even though she's been built up terrifically, but she hasn't really had that big win since the Evolution, and because of unfortunate circumstances, she had to miss one, and then they took the title off her. But I think to set up, I think she gets the big win here to build her up strong. So
you think she keeps that belt into Mania?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And we'll get into after the Women's Rumble. We'll get into my Nostra-Dumbass speculation.
Very good. All right, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, WWE title on the line. I mean, who would have thought we got this match as many times as we had just like a year ago? Did you ever think we'd be seeing this match on pay-per-view for the title? Bryan is way too hot in this vegan heel character he's got going on. I think he's keeping it and rolling into Mania as champion. I think Styles really is another guy that kind of needs a reset, and you really wonder what his future is going to be. I mean, Vince McMahon loves him. They're going to offer him a reduced schedule, but his contract is coming up. Is he a guy that jumps to AEW? You know, that'll be speculation that occurs here on the Kevin Kelly Podcast League, I'm sure, in the weeks to come. But I think Bryan retains here.
Yes, I concur, and I think AJ will be a definite Raw candidate right after Mania.
If he sticks. Do you think he stays?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, our final singles match, Brock Lesnar, Finn Balor for the Universal title. Of course, this was originally supposed to be Braun Strowman. He was pulled out, however you want to read the tea leaves, whether it's injury or just them not wanting him to job yet again to Brock Lesnar, because to me, lock number 4 of the weekend, in my mind, is Brock Lesnar is taking that title into Mania. With so much hype, and again, a Mania as of right now paper that doesn't have a ton of star power or outside names coming in, you're going to want Brock in a title match. I know you can do a big match without him having the title, but I think he's champion going into that show. And I think Balor gets a great showing out of him. I think he'll look like a star in losing. I don't think he's going to get squashed, but I don't think they're ready to put the title on Balor going into a Mania.
Yeah, once again, boring, but I concur. And but things are looking up, at least. Or maybe some will say maybe not looking up, but there's rumblings that Balor and Taker for a Mania. So at least they'll get a big spotlight match, which might not please everybody, but
all right,
that's the way they may go.
Yeah, I mean, it's one Balor's always talked about. Kevin Owens is another guy that's talked a lot about wanting that Taker match. So we'll see. All right, let's get to our 2 Royal Rumble matches. We'll start with the women. John, last year won by Asuka. Give me your prediction. Who is taking the match?
Okay, this is the first Nostra-Dumbass prediction. Charlotte takes it, and she challenges both Raw and SmackDown champions for Mania for the big, and that's how we get into the big 3-way.
All right, tasty. I like it. So are both belts on the line in that match, or just one? At Mania in your world.
Wow. I should have thought that far ahead.
Well, I'm just curious, like how you think they may unify, or I guess. All right, well, we got time for that one, so we'll get. All right, well, I like the idea. All right, so in the world of, if I'm going to go cheap, so if Becky wins, I'm with you. I think Charlotte wins the Rumble. I'm leaning toward Asuka retaining her SmackDown title and Becky showing up in the Rumble, and winning that though. So I'm going Becky Lynch officially as my Royal Rumble match winner. And we're going to talk some kind of prop stuff with the Rumble in a minute, so we'll get to that. So hold any thoughts you have on like surprises, number 1, number 30 stuff. All right, men's Royal Rumble match. I think they're going to flip things this year. I think the men are probably going to close out. The women did last year. I am going with Seth Rollins in this one. I think that it's been written on the wall for a while that they want him to ascend to Mania. I think he's going to beat Brock Lesnar in the main event, or maybe not the last match of Mania, but in the world title match of Mania, and kind of re-kick off his run. He's earned it. He's had a great year. He's been the workhorse on Raw. It really had a great following, put on tons of great matches. I think this is kind of his year and his match. Yeah,
sorry, folks. We didn't plan this ahead, but I have to concur. Yeah, it's everything's been leaning towards Seth. Unfortunately, the Dean feud, it was hot for a while, and then they both kind of lost some steam out of it because the matches went in the direction that was a little disappointing. So, but I think they're going to build them back up here.
Yeah, and do you have a dark horse if it's not Rollins? Like, who's your B? 1B?
Not necessarily dark horse. Drew.
Yep, that's my 1B as well. I could see them winning. So let's do some prop bets then, because I'm starting with Drew there too. Like, I think he gets the Diesel most eliminations push.
Yes. Maybe Braun. Maybe I'll go Braun for that. Yeah.
Well, he did it at the Greatest Rumble, right? Didn't he end up with?
But to build up, he needs a build up, a serious rebuild. So.
Right. All right. Let's. Who's your number 1 entrant for the men?
I'll go with Orton.
All right, I'm going Jeff Hardy. He always seems like a candidate for one. All right, so if you're going Braun for kind of the Diesel most throwout, who gets your Iron Man? Do you have an idea there?
Rey Mysterio.
Oh, always a good choice. I'm going to go Mustafa Ali.
Nice.
All right, any other props you want to throw out there for the men? Any surprises you think? Well, actually, we'll get to that one more second. Let's do props for the women's. Who's your number 1 entrant for the women?
Number 1's going to be Bayley.
I'm going Becky Lynch. I think she comes out number 1 and runs the table and wins the thing. That's her big push. That's her big win that you said she needed right there. I think she runs the table.
She does the flair.
Yep.
Wow, that's great.
I think she takes it 1 to the end. All right, most women eliminated.
That would be tremendous.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I mean, it would take the instant sting away of her not beating Asuka. You know what I mean? Like, you'd forget about it by the end of the night that she did that. So.
Yeah, most women eliminated. I want to go. I can't come up with anybody else besides Nia, but I'd like to though.
All right.
So please, yeah, why don't you come with the outside the box and come up with somebody besides Nia?
I'm peeking inside the box. I'm standing outside it. I am going with the fallout from NXT. I had Shayna Baszler losing the NXT title, and she shows up in the Rumble and cleans house. And this is her big introduction to the main roster. So that's my prediction there.
That'll work.
Yeah, outside the box, like we said. And Iron Woman, I guess mine would be Becky if I ever coveted number one. So you going Bayley or someone else?
Iron Woman, yeah, Bayley. I'm gonna go with.
Okay, all right. Let's quickly just do a couple like off the wall Nostra-Dumbass predictions of who would show up in the Rumble, and then we'll quickly just give our 3 top matches of Mania, and then we'll get out of here. All right, who is your? Give me like 2 men, 2 women. 2 or 3, whatever. Give me like maybe a realistic one, and then a couple of long shots.
Well, the realistic ones are it's going to be Impact fans' dream. EC3 and Abyss entering the men's.
There you go, Abyss. How about Kevin Owens? I think Kevin Owens maybe returns in the Rumble.
I don't think so.
You think they're waiting?
Speculation was that they're holding off. Yeah. And, I'm dying to see him back because it looks like he dropped a few pounds. There was some pictures circulating.
It's on that KOC diet. So the all right, shooting down my Owens. How about I don't think his contract's up yet, but did they make a payoff to get Kenny Omega out early and then they buy him out or anything like that?
No, that would be a hard no. I think he's sticking with his boys. For
all elite bound. All elite bound. Okay. How about Roman Reigns?
Roman Reigns, I'd have to say pass.
Okay.
I think he's still in Hawaii with that movie.
Okay.
I got one. How about Kushida?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. Definitely possible. You think it's happening?
Yeah, I'll go with a surprise there.
Okay. All right. Undertaker?
I'd say no.
Okay. Is Cena going to show up?
Cena, yes. I think that rumor thing, that injury,
bullshit.
Especially when WWE is the one that puts it out. That's
right. Okay. All right. Women. Anyone you want to throw? I mean, we'll probably get the usual Trish, right? Maybe Trish, Lita. Anyone else they might surprise?
I'd love to see Karma. The last time we saw her, she was in that men's Royal.
Oh yeah, you think she could come in as a welfare queen, maybe?
Yeah, coming off the glow. Sure.
Yeah. How about Ivory? She wasn't in last year's.
Yeah, sure. They just had her at Evolution. That wouldn't be like a huge surprise. See, the women, there's really not many. Like who would be like a surprise for the women? I would.
Alundra Blaze. Something like that. But I mean, I don't. I'm curious if they're going to go heavy on. Like I think last year's they tried to really paint as like this historic first thing. Like I don't know if they're really going to go heavy on like the old divas coming back again. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure we'll get a handful, like 2 or 3, 4. I mean, last year there were a lot because it was meant to be like this history-making moment. So now that I think it's kind of becoming business as usual,
a lot of NXT women will slip in there. I think Kairi Sane should get some shine because she's kind of been put to the back burner. She lost the belt back and she's kind of been put to the side. So maybe she'll get some run here in the run in the Rumble.
Yoshari show up as well then?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, they have to build up to their future tag team.
Right. All right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Maybe they come up and are in the tag mix for the tag titles as well. So, all right, John. Top 3 matches of Mania, and then we're out of here.
Top 3 matches of Mania. Well, Brock and Seth.
Yep. You get your women's match, right? Charlotte, Becky.
Yeah, the 3-way.
Ronda.
And, I don't have one for SmackDown, so I'm going to go with Braun and is going to go against the Boss. The Boss is going to come back. The other Boss, Triple H, is going to.
Oh, Braun. Okay.
Is going to be cleared for something with Braun. Because you can see on Raw they're building one. Obviously it can't be Vince, but
right.
But Braun's having a problem with authority, and I think Triple H will be cleared by then, and that'll be his big match.
All right, very, very good. So I hope everyone enjoyed this premiere prediction PodBlast show. John, thanks for taking some time out to join me here. I had a great time chatting with you as always. So listen, we got a bunch of things coming up here on the Kevin Kelly Podcast League this week. So tomorrow night After the Rumble, Nate Milton will be premiering his show Chain Reaction. He has a roundtable coming. Of course, you may know Nate from Post Wrestling, formerly of Live Audio Wrestling. He's here at Placement Nation. He also has a show, The Kings of Sport. He is all over the place, well known out there, a wrestling personality. So he'll be hosting a reaction show after every WWE pay-per-view event and other major show. So him and a roundtable will be dropping their show likely Sunday night, sometime after the Rumble. They'll be doing an instant reaction to everything that went down in Phoenix. And then Monday, Kevin will be back with his 5-minute Kevin Kelly podcast. He'll be talking Rumble stuff as well. And he'll be back Monday through Friday, each and every day in the afternoon for about 5 minutes, giving you his takes and news of the day. And next weekend is the premiere episode for you all of Wrestling Warzone, the Monday Night Wars podcast retrospective. Chad Campbell and I are going through the history of the Monday Night Wars. We started with the 9/11/95 Raw and Nitro, the first head-to-head matchup. And these shows have aired before at the Placement Nation Wrestling feed, but we're kind of reintroducing them to you all at the Kevin Kelly Podcast League. We want to thank Kevin for having us. So be sure to follow Kevin on Twitter at RealKevinKelly, at Facebook.com/Kevin Kelly Podcast League. And, of course, subscribe to us. We're on iTunes. We are on every other podcast feed available, Spotify, iHeartRadio, everything you can think of. We are there. So for John, I'm JT. Everyone enjoy Royal Rumble weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you and take care.
Thanks, guys.